Today I'm going to be using Hanji paper for our gel prints. Look how see-through it is. This is a handmade Korean paper and I got the thinnest one I could find. And I'm going to be using all Amsterdam paints. These were recommended by a lot of gel printers, so I got a huge bunch of them. I start by putting a small amount of greenish yellow paint on the plate and I was wowed even at this point. The paint is fresh and the right consistency, so it is very easy to control the amount I need to get out. In previous videos, I'm sure you have seen me struggle with putting too much paint on as I had to squeeze the tube and usually managed to get more paint than I needed. I'm now sad at the colors I had to leave behind because I could only carry so much. See how transparent the Hanji paper is? If I try pressing down with my hands, the paint comes through on my hand. Hence why I decided to use the brayer. The paper is almost a tissue-like feel at this thickness. I have never used Carnival wet strength tissue which many rave about for gel printing, but I'm 100% sure this is what it is like. Another option is medical exam paper which also has a tissue-like feel that many gel printers like for the same reasons. I get such a lovely background when I pull the print as I also pick up a lot of what was already there on the plate. Next I go in with the color Brilliant Blue. A little paint goes a long way. These are well pigmented so it just takes a bit to cover the plate. I picked up these adorable rubber stamps at a store called Itoya in Japan and decided to try them out in the sprint. I'm using the triangular shaped one very randomly. I'm not making any pattern nor concerned with how it will look. I'm just experimenting to see how it will turn out. And this leafy one is my favorite for sure. I add a couple of stencils and use our previous print to pick this one up. The rubber stamps have not worked out as expected. I can only see the outline of the triangle and the donut. The full shape didn't show up. I'm thinking maybe I did not press them down enough. I can see one solid triangle, so it was definitely me and not the stamps. Let's remove the stencils and pick up the ghost using Naples Yellow Red. I picked it up too quickly and most of the ghost print got left behind. Let's use cobalt blue to pick up the leftovers. I add the same stencils again but in a different direction and use the rubber stamp to add some marks. I used the first print to pick this up. So far this is the third layer I'm adding and this thin paper is absorbing all of this paint without any issue. I feel like I can put 10 layers and it will be fine. Don't you love how you can see the different layers through each other? So yes, good quality paint does make a difference in how your prints turn out. But it also does not have to break the bank. I find this brand to be far more reasonably priced, although to be fair, the prices in Japan and especially at Sekaido are amazing. These were 660 yen each and the metallics were around 880 yen. Oh wow, I wasn't expecting it to pick up anything, but look at how lovely that subtle ghost print turned out. Next, I add white and a dab of a peachy color, although the dab should have been a bit more of a bigger dab to make an impact while mixing the paint. I decided to mix in the white for contrast and then ended up applying it to the lighter print. Not sure what I was thinking. I make sure to press in each and every crevice, although I don't show you the whole of it. This is so the paint gets picked up and we get a cleaner print. But sadly, I still did not manage to get all of it, which is okay and I'm liking what I got. It is giving my print a bit of a grungy look. We still end up with a lovely ghost print, and even though we have stray paint around the ghost print itself has a good outline. Let's pick this using Caput Mortium Violet. Let me take this moment to recount the story of my paint purchase as we add another layer. I went to this store Sekaido in Tokyo. To say I was overwhelmed is an understatement. That is a haven for arts and crafts and stationery lovers. I could have spent the entire day there, but sadly I only got a couple of hours max as my sister went and had coffee across the street. I saw Amsterdam paints and I just started piling up my basket. These are 120 ml tubes, meaning every 5 tube makes a kilo of weight. By the time I had put in every color, I could not pick it up and had to drag the basket to the counter. And obviously, my first question was if they could deliver it. I was told in a 20 kilo box. Yikes. That means I would also likely be overweight with my luggage. So I opted to remove some of the colors. I had to get my sister to help as I could not bring myself to leave any behind. I wish I was more present, but I was too overwhelmed to think clearly, or I would have added more of the lighter shades which I took out. Definitely regretting that decision. But we did manage to cut down the entire weight to 6 kilos. But now it turns out it will take 3 days for delivery, and we had a flight the next day. So, yeah, I had to carry the entire 6 kilos of paint and rice paper across stations with loads of walking and going up and down stairs. There are hardly any escalators to be found. And remember, this is not a backpack or a shoulder bag. This is a shopping bag that you have to carry with your hand, so the feels like was more like 10 kilos. Not really liking those polka dots, but let's keep in mind this is a fourth layer on this paper and still no signs of wearing out. Let's hope the ghost has not dried and I can pick some of it on a peachy print. Turns out we picked enough to add the grungy look, though not enough for the design to be crisp and visible, which is fine because this is adding more depth and texture. Since we're using so many blues, then why leave out sky blue? And when you don't like circles on your print, apparently the solution is to add lots of distorted ovals and circles. I do want the entire design to be picked up, so I press into all the crevices so the paper and paint make contact and the paint gets absorbed into the paper in all those spots. Is it just me, or does that look like a pond with fish swimming in it? And by the way, this is a fifth layer if you're counting. Today is the day for grungy prints and half baked ghost prints. Love how this turned out. Unexpected results in gel prints are always my favorite. Sometimes those turn out to be the best prints. I figured that much of the ghost print must have gotten left behind, so I covered the plate with a shade of blue. Ooh, doesn't that just look like a pool of water? I feel like a first print is still too noisy and needs yet another layer to sober it down a bit. I decide to use masks. This is going to be the sixth layer. I like that much better. Less noisy for sure, and surprisingly, I can still see a fish in the design. It got saved. The ghost print has added some interest to our pool. I decide to build on it further, though I think I liked it better earlier. This stencil was not the best choice as it has covered the rest of the print completely. Our pool of water has been muddied beyond recognition. Next up, quinacridone rose. It is by far one of the most beautiful shades of pink. I am using it to pick the ghost print. Let's use some permanent green light. What a pretty fresh green shade. Let's add a stencil and add a grid to our muddied waters. Although the print has turned out to be completely different to what we started out with, I am liking the result now. The green grid has added substance to the print. And of course, the grid ghost has to be picked up. Take a closer look to see how you can still see all the layers through each other. The earlier layer with the ghost print is still very much visible. Here are the 5 prints we worked on today. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you all. If you like this video and want to see more like this one, please do subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. See you next time.